Okay, this is Chapter 7 of Hourglass, a West Marches style campaign using heroes and hardships. And tonight I have with me Slip, and we will get right into it. So pronunciation for your name, Harakat? Is that
Harakat
Harakat.
Majra.
Harakat Marja, you this day have been summoned to the Shah's palace. The Shah owns a plot of land that is called Ishbakistan. And he has summoned you to his palace to give you a boon, a gift, a day with your daughter. And the messengers had arrived recently to procure this or arrange this date, if you will. And you are arriving at the palace now, and I'll let you give whatever intro you would like.
Harakat is tall for a woman. While most women around her are walk with their heads down, somewhat timidly, dressed from anywhere from homespun to great finery, but still delicately, femininely. Harakat, she strides with both grace and the confidence of someone who has absolute confidence in her body's ability to perform its function. Some like a great athlete or a dancer. She wears brown robes and a little bit of armor, pauldrons and bracers, marked with the Shah's symbol, marking her as his property. On one hand, she has something like a guitar, but shaped more like claws, showing beneath the long sleeve of her brown robe. Though her face is veiled, her eyes gleam with excitement at the thought of being able to spend some time with her beloved jewel of heaven, renamed by the Shah himself, a great honor. As she walks, she ponders her state and how she came to be where she is, once living in comfort and seclusion in the Shah's flock, now freer to move around and yet somewhat disgraced in her own mind. You see, the leash is the greatest of blessings to those who wear a collar. Without it, they become a dog baying in grief, a cat yowling in heat, a leaf blowing in the wind, or a demon thirsting for blood. So say the clerics. We of the leash are both greater and lesser than man, but we are bred to serve. Clerics bind servant to master at adolescence, and the bearer of the leash is obeyed in all things. This bond can only be severed by death or by a painful ritual. We females are usually bred for pleasure, however, some are deemed too feral to please and instead become guardians of the master's flock, and I am such a one. I was bonded to my master the Shah at 12, as is our tradition. Moves like water, he renamed me in those days when his eye sought me out among all the others. For many years I was his jewel, his guiding star that brought him home after many a long journey. I brought honor to my aged mother and to my young brother, wings in his heart, and the favor of the Shah. Always the master smiled in my presence, though others in my flock vied for his attention to no avail. This was before my great shame. She walks, her head bowed, looking down at her feet as she relives this moment, very painful in her mind. The Shah's beloved brother, honored Omir, was possessed of a covetous eye. He looked upon the flock with great hunger, for his own was small and ugly. He visited our great room many times, seeking out the youngest and fairest to watch. There came a day that his watching became touching, which is forbidden, and the one he touched was a young one who had not yet reached a bonding age, my brother, wings in his heart. All know this is sacrilege. No leashed one can see this without great rage, for the family bond is second only to the leash bearers. It was with great restraint that I did not kill Omir, but he bears the marks of my fury to this day. But these actions, they shamed my master. To harm a member of his family is forbidden, punished by a terrible death. But Omir, his actions could not be overlooked either. He was banished to his estate for a year and a day. And instead of death, I was spared. By my master's great mercy, I was sent to pasture and bred to a strong soldier in hopes of birthing a tamer child. And in this child I am redeemed. Gentle, beautiful above all, jewel of heaven, has grown and been bonded to our master, who loves her with all of his heart. She is summoned 9 times out of 10. The flock watches her with envy and awe. So favored is she, I have been reclaimed from the pasture and set as shepherd over the master's flock, and so Jewel is never far from me. And this is wisdom, for word of my daughter's beauty is on the lips of all, and twice a jealous lord has sent thieves to steal her away. Never. They all met death at my hands, torn neck to belly with my claws. Truly, I have all in life that could be hoped for or dreamed of. My master is great, my daughter is favored. If only I could find the root of this rage that grows inside of me, all would be well, for I would rip it out without hesitation. What reason for anger could I have? This puzzles me day and night. I do not understand. And still, the rage, it grows.
As you contemplate your feelings, you enter the palace. Let's move over there. Heading down a long hallway. Everything is very ornate. You know this place well, obviously. Although you're being given a special gift of a day of leisure with your daughter, it's not like you are not around here often to watch over your daughter and others. And as you walk through the palace, you turn a corner into a large lounge almost. There's pillows all over the ground, and set in between all these large pillars. Let me move that over there. Your daughter, Jewel of Heaven, lies in the midst of them. There are two servants that are walking about, bringing food, dates, and olives, and other things of that nature to your daughter, who is lying back on a few of the pillows, lounging. She looks up as she catches you enter the room and smiles slightly. She does not speak.
Harakat stands in the doorway for a moment, just looking at her daughter, admiring her, remembering what it was like to be 15 and beautiful and favored. Although there's no envy in this memory, she only wishes that her daughter maintain this favor and repeat none of her mistakes. She smiles broadly and unfastens the veil from one side of her hood so that her daughter can look upon her face and see her delight at this visit. She walks forward and opens her arms for an embrace.
Your daughter gets to her knees and stands up, walking over and gives you an embrace, hugging you, squeezing you tightly. Mother, it is good to see you. I am very excited for the day. The Great Wise One was so kind to allow us to have this day together.
Always he is merciful beyond our deserving. You look well. You look well.
Can you give me a perception roll? I'm going to make this one a difficult one. TN21. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, good one. She seems to be had put on a little weight. Just in kind of along her cheeks and her jawline, mostly. Just a little bit.
Harakat kind of reaches out with her hand that doesn't bear the claws and cups her daughter's chin and looks her up and down, and she cocks her head to the side. You are looking well fed and cared for. You feel well?
Oh yes, lazy days, mother. I should walk more, that is true. But these pillows are so soft, huh?
They are, but we must care for ourselves so that our appearance is always most pleasing to our master.
He has not complained.
Well, you are still the most beautiful jewel in his crown here. There is no question of that. And if he is happy, then we have no reason to complain.
But you're alright. Perhaps we should walk a bit. The gardens, perhaps? And you know the gardens are kind of attached a bit to the palace, a little farther away, maybe not exactly attached, but they're date trees and that kind of figs and that sort of thing there. It's very beautiful. The waterfalls, that sort of thing.
Walking and talking always go together well. Let us do this.
Wonderful. As you are preparing to leave, she was dressed very, what's the word? Not risky, but, she wouldn't go out in public like this, so she goes over to a small, essentially what it would be a rack, and pulls out a cloak and starts to put it on. As you hear behind you the shuffling of feet, and you see the Shah himself, the Great Wise One. He is a man of large stature. Once, when you were young, he was a lot less gray, a lot less fat, but still very tall. He's a man of 6 feet 4 inches. Once a great warrior. Came by this province not through natural wealth, but through guile and hardship and battle. And he is a fair man for the most part. You think probably more than even that's really deserved. He walks out, his belt, red belt, wraps around his girth. He pats his belly. Ha ha! Harakat! It is good to see you again.
She immediately kind of falls down to her knees ritually, prostrates herself a couple of times before looking him in the eye for permission to rise. Master, how generous you are to give me this time, and how wonderful it is to lay my own eyes upon you.
Yes, rise. It was your daughter's request, but I saw no reason to ignore it. She is the most beautiful, is she not?
There is no question. All know this is true. And she looks back at her daughter with great pride in her eyes.
Jewel of Heaven, where are you going? And as he sees her get dressed, I thought we would go to the garden. I thought some exercise might be good. Well, better you than me, he says, and pats his belly again and walks over to where she was, flopping down and beginning to eat. He snaps his fingers. More of this! Cheese! He starts ordering various foods to be brought to him, and he's like, I will expect you by nightfall, eh? And
Oh, that is most generous. Of course we will be back, and as always, my eye will watch over Jewel for you.
Of course. I would expect nothing less.
With this, she kind of does a deep bow again, fastens her veil back into place over her face, which now that she and her daughter are kind of side by side in the room, there's a great resemblance between them. Harakat is about 30, although she probably looks a little bit younger. There's no lines of age on her face at all. Similar features. Her hair is a little lighter, her eyes are a little lighter, and her daughter is a degree more beautiful, but still there's no denying the relationship there. And she fastens the veil back into place and helps her daughter finish whatever preparations she's making.
Yeah, she's about done by the time you are done speaking to the Shah. She reaches out and takes you by the arm and arm in arm and begins walking away. I will return, she says to the great wise one, who smiles and nods and continues to eat.
As we walk, Harakat makes small talk, asking about other people in the flock, about younger cousins or a particularly jealous rival.
Well, I do have something to tell you that is most important, Mother. Nothing about these lesser women, but I did see a wise woman recently, and there was a blessing put upon me.
Harakat looks at her, and she looks confused. Her eyes narrow with concentration, trying to understand what this blessing might have meant. What was the purpose of this blessing?
I would not here. In the garden I will speak of it. It is a wondrous thing, Mother. You must believe me.
I am certain this is so. I am eager to hear of it. And she takes her daughter's arm, hooks hers through it. And still, there's a little bit of hesitation to her response. Anything out of the ordinary always kind of puts her on edge. She doesn't like things that aren't predictable.
Yeah, why don't you give me a detect lies Doesn't necessarily mean she's lying, just, you know. Yeah, you're able to get something she is acting a bit strangely. Um, Clearly, she is not wanting to be exactly forthcoming right now about this. That's about really all you can tell, but it's hard to know why that is or what the, if it's a good or a bad thing. Who knows?
Her heart beating a little faster. Harakat leads them quickly out to the gardens where they have less of a risk of being overheard.
Mm-hmm. You head into the gardens, head outside and through the town just maybe quarter of a mile before you get to the Shah's gardens. You walk down these large steps and into them. As she walks past the hedges, she reaches out with her hand and this lets them brush against the top of them as she heads around to where there's the entryway to the fountains inside. This is pleasant. I have not been here in several weeks.
Yes, yes. The Shah, our master, is most protective of you, and with good reason. But he has nothing to fear with me here.
Yes, well, I did want to speak to you. I think I'm a bit nervous, Mother, to say what the wise women told me. And what has come true.
Well, speak without fear. I am listening, and the wise women, they are always correct.
Yes, Mother, I am with child.
She freezes and then slowly leads her daughter over toward the fountain where there's flowing water that can further obscure their conversation. I would say that this is unusual, correct?
They're pretty careful. I would say they probably drink various tonics to keep this from happening.
What would you say is the social consequences for being pregnant with the Shah's child?
It could be good. He has several wives, with several sons. It could be seen as because she is so favored, and his wives are mostly older, at least as old as you, if not more. They could be jealous, and their families could be jealous. He can technically choose his heir, so he could choose her, if it was a son, her son to be his heir. So it could have ramifications, you definitely know that.
This is most unusual, Jewel of Heaven. It is not done often. A Shah having a child with one of us. Does he know?
No, I have not told him. I have only recently known myself. For true, the wise woman said it would happen, but I did not believe it for the same reasons that you speak here, because I have drank my tea every day like I am supposed to.
And I do not understand, but if this is meant to be, I am certain the Shah will view you with even more favor.
But the Shah, and as she's saying that, There's someone I want you to meet. And as this happens, you give me a perception roll, I guess is probably what I would like.
Wow, that's two good ones.
You're rolling pretty well. So you see that there are this kind of like over here, I don't know if there's vines or whatever they are, but you see that there's two men like coming out of them. They're wearing, mail and have their scimitars out.
Harakat hisses, Jewel, over to the wall, back to the wall. And she kind of starts herding her back there, keeping her own body in between her daughter and these men.
Yeah, she backpedals behind you. Let's see. Give me 2 sec. There's already a lot in this game. Alright. Put them right about there. Let me throw a grid on. Alright. Alright, let's they come out with their scimitars. They look intent on doing violence to you or your daughter. You're not exactly sure, but definitely two men approach. One of them actually says, "Hand her over, and I won't kill you."
Harakat kind of does a little kata with her claws, putting herself into defensive position. And she looks them up and down and she says, "Your death is already determined. You will not leave here in one piece."
Kill her then and take the girl. Her master needs her now more than ever. And let's roll initiative. Okay. All right. Warrior 1 is going...
Oh, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look at my
Sure.
abilities really quick. Okay, I have keen, so that should have been a +2 pre-roll. I don't know how. Should I re-roll or
Is
should
it
I
just
add
just a +2 or
a +2 pre-roll modifier when determining?
Oh yeah, we can do that just real quick. I'll just set you at 19. Doesn't change much, but
no.
Okay, cool. All right. I'll let me write that down and I'll put it in your macro automatically. Add
Okay.
keen to slip. Okay. All right. So he is how far away? He's gonna have to run. He does. He runs up to you. He moves 6. It's gonna be 3 there. So he's rushing up to you. So he ran, and then you are up.
All right. She is going to self-transmute.
Mm-hmm.
She is going to add 1 to her strength.
Okay.
And she'll lower, let's see. You know what? She's not going to... Yeah, she will. She's going to raise her strength by 1 and lower her endurance and her dexterity. by 1
Okay.
temporarily.
So the easiest way to do that is that stat modifier block over there.
Okay.
So I can do it for you, or you can just.
I got it.
Yep.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. And +1. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, and that looks like it did it. So cool. All right. So now your wound threshold is your wound level's still 11. That's interesting. Probably should not be. Must be a sheet thing. It's not. I wonder if it's not grabbing off the. I'll figure out that later. It's not a big deal. Okay. So you did -1 to endurance. Let me look at something real quick so I can set it appropriately.
No problem.
Yes. So that's gonna lower it by 1. You don't have anything that bumps it, right? Here, let me just. I just want to do one thing real quick. I just want to see that, make sure that. Oh, it was 12. Okay, I see. So it was working. Okay.
Fantastic. All right. Are these guys wearing armor?
They are. They're wearing like mail on their head. So they have helms and they have like torso armor.
She's got combat experience. Does she think that bludgeoning or slashing works better on this kind of armor?
Bludgeoning.
Okay, she's just going to use her fists and feet then, hand to hand.
Mm-hmm. And you have the ability that makes it lethal damage, right?
Yep, stone hands. Wow.
45. Okay, so you're just doing a straight attack, I'm assuming. So
Yep.
it's 3. He's gonna try to. So it's a -5 to that because he ran. So you're at a 40. Let me get. All right, he's gonna try to parry it. He's also at -5 though. Nah. So I counted that in, so 16, so now his run is over. So he did that, and then he's up to 4. So okay, 16, 24.
Now, does it automatically add her strength damage to that roll?
So I changed that rule that it doesn't, that there's no strength bump to the damage.
Not in hand to hand?
Not in hand to hand, that's correct. Because I was looking at, like, if I added hand weapons, like your claws or something, it would literally be better than those just by being strong and punching.
Yeah, it totally would be.
Yeah, so I thought that was wrong, so I updated. It's even updated in the new quick start guide. So you're at 24 already, which will kill him. Anyhow, so
that was just lucky.
And you hit him in the you didn't roll all that, but that's fine. You can hit him where you want because it's not going to matter. He's dead.
Yeah, as he comes running toward her, she sweeps him with her one leg, and with the other she just punches him in the throat, and it completely collapses his trachea, and he just collapses to the ground, grasping his throat, but there's no way he's ever going to breathe again, so he's just flopping like a fish on the ground.
Yeah, the other guy looks a bit off-put, but he's got to do what he's got to do, so he's... that's not right. Whoops, he was here. Yeah, he runs at you, but you're going to go before he does. Actually, he's going to run to here. I'm going to do this a little differently. He runs to here, so he's at -5. So how many spaces did I? That would still be 3. He's got a. There's nothing I can do. He runs just. He's actually is going to go to here though. He'll be at 3 though. He stops up a little short. You think he might have something sneaky up his sleeve?
Okay. She doesn't have her stars drawn, and that would take just as much time to draw as to move forward. So I guess she'll spend 1 movement to move forward.
You can do that. You can do a lunge attack too. So lunge, you move and attack, but you get a -3.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay. So you're at a total of a -8 because he ran last round. And lunge costs 4, so you're 7. So when it asks you for additional mods, just do a -8. Still 23. Okay. He's still going to have to dodge, so he's going to do that. That's going to be a -5 for him, up to 4. Hit. What did you roll? You rolled 23, so 9. You hit him in the. So your hand. Will you just roll your? I'll remind me to put the hit location. Just do your claws real quick, just to see where it hit him.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, she rolls hand to hand with claws, but yeah, I mean, this will just be.
Yeah. You do your combat macro.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. There's a combat menu.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to, because it combines attack, weapon, and hit location.
Okay,
usually.
So do you want me to do hand to hand from here?
Yeah, I think it's set up.
Let's see.
See, I was wondering if it wasn't. Yeah, just do the other one. I still have to set that up correctly. So
Left leg.
So that is -3, and we're at 9. So it's a 6. That's enough to give him an injury. He's a minion, so he takes no injuries. So you. How does it look as you swing kind of wildly as he's coming in and just miss?
Okay, so can you explain that combat?
Yeah. Well, you didn't necessarily miss. You hit him, but didn't hurt him. So minions cannot take injuries; they just take wounds, and then they die automatically. So you got a 6 basically. So a 9 minus a 3 because you hit him in the left leg. So that's a 6.
I have to hit beyond a threshold.
Yeah, beyond his wound level.
Okay. Yeah, she lunges forward and aims for his throat, trying to get a quick end to this intrusion. But instead, she kind of gets him in the shoulder. She hits him, but he just kind of grunts and shrugs it off.
Yeah, and he is going to go for a reckless attack. Give me the girl! Yeah, and he winds back and swings. I put him at 8. Scimitar. 21.
And she will dodge.
Okay, that puts you at 8. You do dodge. He swings his scimitar and you're able to evade it. And you are up again.
Alright, she will go for another hit. Man, I'm just like Mrs. 10 today.
Yeah, I think he's not gonna make it. 25, it's not bad, but it's still not good enough. That kills him.
As he falls to the ground, Harakat looks behind her, looking to see if Jewel is alright, looking all around for further enemies.
Jewel is kind of looking at her. Oh, mother, I cannot believe they will not stop coming.
Quickly, come to me. And she gestures her daughter closer as she kneels and examines the men for some sign of, she's used to people carrying the badge of their master, although these men might not.
Give me a lore. Actually, do you have literacy 1?
She's not literate.
Yeah, there's a note in there.
Oh, she'll grab it. She knows there's magical writings in there that smart people know how to read.
As you do that, your daughter, she... Mother, I do not know where the person we are supposed to meet is. And... Yeah, go ahead.
We are supposed to be meeting someone here?
Yes, I wanted you to meet someone. Someone very important.
I do not understand. Daughter, have you been... Perhaps this was just some ruse to draw you out. Who are we supposed to be meeting?
Oh no, he is... She kind of lets that slip. He would not. It is not like that. And give me a perception roll, if you would. Yeah, you notice there's this light coming from behind you, and as you kind of turn around, you see that someone steps out of this glowing light.
She, immediately and instinctively steps in front of her daughter again.
Oh no, this is him. It is Varnaway.
She looks at the man and the glowing light with alarm and suspicion. He is some sort of witch. Jewel, we must flee back to the palace.
Oh no, he is. It is my love. He is the father of my child.
With that, Harakat eyes go wide and she turns around to look at her daughter. The father? This cannot be. This cannot be.
I love him, mother. He walks forward. As he gets closer, you're pretty distracted, but he's got very strange looking eyes, and he doesn't look human, you don't think.
Daughter, you must awaken from whatever foul enchantment this is. We are bonded to our master.
But it is a life of slavery, mother. Vornaway has taught me. He says...
Slavery?
He says...
We are no slaves.
This is the mother, then? What is her real name?
Her real name, like what that she was born
yes.
with?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I didn't think of that. Let me think for a second.
Okay, sure.
It would have been a word like Harakat, but it meant plays like a cat. Something that means basically playful.
He calls her by her name. Come to me. And she starts moving around you to go towards him.
No, daughter, stop! Stop! What have you done? What have you done to my daughter?
I have taught her the ways of the world. Farther than this place, for certain.
You have broken the bond, the sacred bond between her and our master. She will go mad.
Ah, no, 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 no. I have taken care of that. I have broke the bond. Not even a problem.
Just panic is filling Majira Harakat's frame, like she's almost getting shaky. This cannot be. She cannot be shamed as I was.
I can remove your bond as well, if you would like. For my beloved.
That is heresy. That is blasphemy.
These are the chains that you were given so that you would obey. It is not real.
This is lies. The clerics, they teach us. They teach us the blessings of the leash. Do you not know of the blessings of the leash? Without it, we would be lost.
It's not true. Your daughter is not lost. She is just now being reborn as her own person, with her own choices. Isn't that right, my darling? Yes, mother. Listen to him. He can break your bond as well. And we can be free of this place. This is why I had you come today, so that we could all make our way from here.
I cannot do this. I love you, daughter, and I want only for your well-being. We must return to the palace so that the clerics can fix this.
Mother, no, I am going with Vornway. It is what was destined for me.
She looks at her daughter and starts to protest, and then she remembers that her daughter had spoken of the wise women.
Mm-hmm.
Is this what the wise women have told you? Is they say you should go with this man? He is not a man.
I am an elf, is what I am called. He pulls back.
Elf?
He pulls back his hood, and you see pointed ears. His hair is blonde, and his eyes are deep blue. His skin is fairly pale.
Nelfs. Are these Nelfs like us? Some leashed ones have ears such as this. But no, still he was so strange. I do not know what to think, daughter. If the wise women say that this is meant to be, I cannot contradict them, but I know where my duty is.
Mother, come with me. Your duty is to me, is it not? Isn't that why... Am I not your jewel of heaven? The Shah does not love you. He cast you aside. He made you become a broodmare.
There is no stronger bond than that between mother and daughter. Except that between mother and master. She just looks extremely anguished, and but then she looks at the bodies of the men on the ground, and she looks at her daughter and the slight swell in her belly, and though she's not particularly imaginative, she starts to try to predict what would happen if her daughter returned to the palace and it was found out that she was carrying a child that wasn't the Shah's.
Oh, she would be
And
executed.
She starts to clench her fists and looks at Veronway. This is your fault. This is your fault. You say you have given her choices, but she is left with none. And she stands back a little bit. If this child is his, you will be put to death.
Mother, that is why... Well, come with us. This is why... You must come with us. You must know the freedom that I feel now.
So, is this going to require any sort of a role for her? Because she doesn't want to leave her daughter. That's where her heart is. But she feels... It's more than like emotional pressure. Like she feels an actual attachment.
I think Aki's right. Fortitude would be the one to basically, if you passed it, you can actually. I would say you're rolling fortitude, and on a success, you choose the Shah because it is your obligation and duty. But if actually, I would say it's whoever you think you have the greatest duty to, and so that would be what you're trying to succeed.
Okay, she thinks she has the greatest duty to the Shah.
Okay.
I mean, that's not a question. I mean, that's just what... But she loves her daughter more, so I think she would be...
Have I given you a flaw yet?
Not that I was told.
Let me see. I probably would have put it in there.
She's got plenty.
Yeah, I didn't yet. Boy, I would say I would probably give you a hardship to make any roll against the Shah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if she makes a fortitude roll...
If she makes it, you could choose your daughter if you wished.
Okay.
But
she has a hardship to that.
Yeah, so I'll just do challenging. So you got to beat a 14.
Okay, where's fortitude?
It is under
Mental?
willpower.
There we go. I don't think she's trained either.
Yeah, if there's no T next to it, you're not trained. It makes sense. Oh yeah. So you probably didn't keep a die. So you got a 7. Roll of 1. You cannot break your oath to your Shah.
She is having a hard time not just bonking her daughter on the head and dragging her back to the palace. I think that's probably the limit that she can do right now, is to let her daughter make the choice. She's feeling all kinds of pressure to just, what would the Shah want? What would the Shah want? And she puts her hands over her ears and she turns away and she says, Jewel of Heaven, I cannot. And then she turns back around and kind of embraces her daughter for a moment and then shoves her toward Veronway. Fine, you have won. Take her. But I will find a way. I will find a way to find her, and when I do, if she has come to harm, you will pay.
She will not come to harm. And, no, make her come with us, please, I beg of you. Are you certain, my love? Yes, please, please.
No, I cannot. I cannot leave my master.
Very well, very well. And you see he pulls out this looks like a rod, and he says something in a tongue you do not understand, and then casts a spell.
You want me to roll anything? Because if it's mental resistance, she's gonna
It's you have a magic defense score. Let's see what it is.
It's way lower than 32. I guarantee that.
But he did add some things. You're close to him, so he's got to roll. Okay, 2d10. Yeah, 26. What in your magic defense is? That's not you. Let's see. Magic defense is. It's 6. Oh, just barely. 32 versus 32. So it's basically like ranged combat. So the way it works is you take your magic defense and add against his effect dice, which is like the ranged dice. If like it works exactly like ranged combat. So only in magic, it's like how many effects you add to your spell. So he's added 2 effects to his spell, which so that adds the difficulty up to 26. And you have 6 magic defense, which it would be like a base defense in a ranged scenario. So it's 32 versus 32, and meat is success. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm curious. She's got. It says magic defense maximum 4, but current 6.
Yeah, I gave you 6.
Because of the magical bond
I think it's it could be just really 4. Let's see. It just might not have got changed. Let me make sure. Let me go back into your. Yeah, this shouldn't have mattered. It's actually 4. Yeah, I just never made them the same. So yeah, it's 4. So he got you. But so he pulls out this rod, and there's like this engulfing like mist that comes over all of you and begins to swirl around overhead. How do you react as this happens? Now do not move, he says.
She watches the mist and starts to back away from it. She probably swipes at it.
Yeah, do not move! Do not move! And as you kind of move, you feel like yourself falling through the air. Actually, not even air. It's like you're weightless. You fall and you fall and you fall and you fall. And one sec. Eventually, it's almost like you fell asleep and you woke up again. Let's see. Where are you? All right. You look about, and you're laying in this grass field. It's almost like you've woken from a drunken stupor. You feel pretty nauseous and have a headache.
She sits up, touches her head. Her first thought is that she must have been struck by something, and she starts to feel her head for some sort of wound. And after not feeling that, she stands up, draws on some of her body's inner reserves to heighten her, kind of like giving herself a jolt of caffeine, like wake up. And she stands up and starts looking around this grassland. Jewel of heaven.
You just hear your voice echo.
The palace.
Yeah, it's clearly. I'm sure there's probably. It's not like all like desert everywhere, but this is very peculiar. You've never seen anything like this.
She runs her hands along the grass, puzzling, trying to remember where in Ish she might have seen or heard of a land like this, but the leash ones are rarely taught lore unless they're very, very old, and she just has no understanding really of anything but local geography. Where am I? The witch man. Again, she starts staring around her, looking at the sun, trying to determine, usually she would use the direction of the sun, to know what time it is, where the palace is. She's just,
as you look up, you see 3 celestial bodies very close. They're like moons. There's a sun in the extreme distance, and then there's like 2 moons very, very close to the skyrise. It's very strange. It's as you see in this picture.
She looks at those, and obviously they're very different, very alien. Her mouth kind of falls open. She pulls the veil from her face so that she can breathe better, thinking maybe she is hallucinating or something, that she needs more air. And as she breathes the air and pants and looks at the sky, she instinctively reaches for that bond with her master, like someone would, like a teddy bear or comfort item, something firm and permanent that she's used to steadying herself with.
Yeah, you don't feel it.
And like someone who reaches out to steady themselves against a wall and then realize there is no wall, she stumbles and she falls to her knees, and the sky and its strange sight is the last thing on her mind. She mentally reaches and scrambles and tries to find that bond, but it's not there. She starts to breathe faster and faster. She puts her hands over her mouth and starts to think, I'm doomed. I will go mad. I will be as the clerics have said. My bond is gone. And I think that she sits there and has a little panic attack for a while.
Yeah, you sit there in the tall grasses and just look up at the sky, missing that feeling, that sensation that you've had all your life, and also realizing your daughter and the wizard is not there. And that is where we'll end it. So that is it.
Awesome. Well, this should be interesting. I can't decide if